Welcome to The Foundry, where leaders are forged daily. Each week we investigate themes of leadership, entrepreneurship, and mindset with some of the greatest minds in real estate. And now, the data scientist of real estate, George Roberts.
All right, welcome back, investors, to this part two of Clay Hepler. We're going to talk about land investing. We got some great insights in the first half of the show about land and why it is potentially one of the very best places to invest. It's a great place, I think, also for beginners to invest for many reasons that we had mentioned. And so we're going to head into the second half of the show talking about some marketing, discipline, mindset, and raising capital. So with that, I'd like to give you a quick reintroduction to Clay Hepler. He's a seven-figure land investor with over 100 transactions completed. His company buys, sells, and develops rural recreational land across the U.S. And he's also the founder of Landman, a leading podcast community and newsletter in the land investment world. And we also talked about his launch of his new course, the Landman Accelerator. So with that, I'd like to welcome back to the show, Clay. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right, awesome. So I think one of the things I like to do to just wrap from the first segment, we talked about some of the great things you can do with land, about farming. I just want to mention one of the things I like the best about farmland. You mentioned how steady over the decades, 9 to 11% increases. Got to say, that's why the rich people love it. Some of the richest people in America are invested in farmland because you know how it is. Once you get to a certain level, it's not about building your wealth. It's about preserving it. And some of the richest in America have figured it out. Definitely want to have farms. I know Warren Buffett, somebody you speak a lot about in your interviews. He's invested in farms, Bill Gates. The list just goes on and on. So yeah, great stuff. So here, one other advantage of the land business is, I would say, the fragmentation. So I know you mentioned in the past that a lot of your competition is really mom and pop. These are people who are kind of doing it on the side. Maybe they got some other business, maybe a W-2. So tell me, where do you see the landscape from your standpoint?
So that's an excellent question. There are different, in any business, there are different levels of operators. And so the consensus in the multifamily business, if you're purchasing a certain type of asset, these are professional operators, right? Maybe not all of them act as professionals, but oftentimes they're professional operators, right? They have a private equity background, they have a syndication background, and they have a very high level of education. In the land flipping space, because of the low barrier of entry relative to other asset classes that we spoke about in our first part of this podcast interview, there's a lot of people that are mom and pop owners. In addition, many of the education in the land investing space is education from 10 or 15 years ago when the business was completely different as it is today. We talked about the blue ocean in the first part of this podcast, and it's still an incredibly blue ocean. But of course, the attractiveness of the market, the attractiveness of land is getting more notoriety. And so there are people that are coming into the space. And so the difference here that your regular mom and pop person that's doing this as a W-2 and in the majority of the people in this space is they're sending out some mail. They're maybe inconsistent. They don't have sales processes. They don't have operational excellence. They're not trying to build a really profitable business. They're trying to build a side hobby that gets them the $100,000, $50,000 of additional profit on a couple hours a week. And that's great. That's a great aspiration to have, but that's your competition. We're not talking about hedge funds. We're not talking about Blackstone. We're not talking about, if you're in the house flipping space, you're competing with Blackstone, which is a multi-billion dollar, private equity fund. And, you're competing against them. And so your competition in this space is not them. Your competition in this space is not the institutional investors. Your competition is the mom and pops. And so if you have the right sales process, you have the right process in general, the operational excellence, you can scale your business very, very quickly and get it to a place of consistent and predictable revenue in consistent and predictable ways for you to build wealth in your life.
Yeah, huge. So what I'm hearing is that we've still got a long runway. That's the way it goes. Profits bring in competition. It gets harder, but that fragmentation is definitely hugely to your advantage. Well, I when I ask people, I always do this. I ask the three top strengths. You say sales, marketing, and building cultures. So why don't we go into the sort of sales and marketing aspect? I know you mentioned this again in the first half, but you've always got to refine your pitch, right? So talk about the importance of A/B testing.
Oh, I mean, that's another thing that a lot of the competition doesn't do. When you send out a mailer, right? You got to send out two types of mailers. Who wins? Who's the highest? For what's the response rate? If it's a 0.001% difference, why is it a 0.001% difference? How do you take that and take those winners and continue to improve them so that over time, the direct mail pieces that you're using are going to yield a higher return on ad spend or more profit in your pocket per amount of marketing dollars that you spend? And so sales and marketing is the ballgame in this business, which is why we said in the beginning, if you're interested in getting in this business, it's helpful to have a sales background. Yeah. It's helpful to understand marketing because this is a belly-to-belly sales and marketing business. It is phone sales. That is what it is. You reach out to people, you solicit an interest in them selling their property. They call you, and the people who have the ability to build predictable sales processes are the people that can build a predictable, scalable sales machine in land flipping. And so that is the ballgame. Operations in this business is, of course, it's important, but it's much less important in order to get to a critical mass. You can sort of brute force your way through to get to a six-figure or high six-figure, even a seven-figure profit business if you're a really good salesperson and you know how to build a really good sales team. And so that's the difference maker, in my opinion, especially early on in this business.
Yeah, good. Obviously takes a degree of discipline and professionalism to go out and do that A/B test rather than just simply blasting it out with one, which is the easy thing to do. I know another thing you credit yourself with is, I love the way you put this, pig-headed discipline. So tell us, what does that mean to you?
Absolutely. So it's very easy when you're sitting by yourself at 8:32 on a Thursday evening and you say to yourself, I'm going to send out this mailer. I was going to send this thing out on Monday, but I said I would send it out by the end of the week. Are you the type of person that's going to send it out by the end of the week? Those moments are the moments that separate the people who do well in this business and the people who do not do well in this business. Consistency. And consistency is a cocktail of boundaries that you set with yourself, disciplines that you set with yourself, and your responsibility, right? And so if you say, it's my responsibility to do this, and my responsibility is backed up by my discipline, then I'm going to make sure that I'm consistent, you will be successful. But it requires that amount of pig-headed discipline, right, in order to do that. And really, it's crazy how many people are not disciplined. How many people they'll say something to themselves that I'll send out this mailer this week, or I'll call this person back today. And something happens in their business, and all of a sudden it's 7:33 p.m. and they're about to go to dinner, and they say, but I need to make this business work. Are you going to call that person, or are you not going to call that person? That's the difference. That's the difference. And so the pig-headed discipline is this sort of brute, like I said, brute force that you do whatever it takes to make what you say you're going to do happen.
Right. I love it. I love the mindset in there too. There's so much to it. I mean, wanting something doesn't get it done, but over the long term, I note that if you don't love what you're doing, keeping that level of consistency is near impossible. So your thoughts?
I think that if you are starting in a business and the love that comes from the business is the person that you become as you build a business. Because we're playing an internal game in life. We think we're playing an external game, but the most amount of satisfaction, appreciation, and love that we have is when we can look in the mirror and look at ourselves and say, you did it today. I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of the man that you are. I'm proud of how you showed up today. And that's where
Love it.
love for me really comes from. It's loving oneself. Because if you can love yourself because you keep the commitments to yourself, you can bring your full self to the table for other people. And so I don't think you have to love the business in order to really feel love and fulfillment in your life. It's a vessel for a lot of people to get them to the other side. And I don't inherently love flipping land, but the man that I've had to become as a part of this process, I'm a father now. And I can look at my son and say, man, I put it out on the field. I do this every single day. And you're going to be proud of me when you're older. You're going to be able to look at your dad and say, man, that guy did it, man. He did it. He put it out on the field. And so that's really how I view the you have to love this in order to be successful, or you have to love this in order to win in this business. I don't necessarily agree with that.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, like you said earlier, it's if you have this, if you have it in your head that I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this work, and well put too. I mean, I find myself feeling the same thing, that I love who business requires me to be more than necessarily the business that I'm in. I may love providing people a place to live through multifamily, but just to be able to go out there every day and know that you are contributing something essential to society, there is a huge amount of pride in that, and that's very exciting.
Yeah, I think that the most important respect to earn is your own respect, right? And so the love for the business really comes from that. And I think that everything after that, the sort of extrinsic motivation that you get through providing housing or through building a sanctuary with the land that you're flipping, that's all great. But at the beginning, building a business is about this journey of self-development, the type of person that you're becoming. And it's this amazing vessel for self-development. You really
Yes.
put yourself through the ringer, and in order to get to the level that you want to get to and you aspire to get to.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, so what goes hand in hand with that is then when you're not feeling disciplined, what do you do? I know you mentioned three techniques of refocusing, like finding the deals or focusing on the deals, focusing on the money, building the processes.
Right. So that's one of my tweets, and you know, when we're in business, and you know, I didn't have a community, so I took land courses when I got started, and there wasn't really like great communities that I felt that I was a part of. And so, you know, it's lonely. It's lonely to be in this business and to be in any business if you don't have any partners, if you're by yourself and you're going out there and doing it, which is what I did. And so these are a focusing mechanism of, I don't really know what I should be doing right now, right? Especially when you're starting out in land, you know, you send out the mail or you send out the marketing and you sort of just wait for a week, for 2 weeks, and you're like, what should I be doing right now? I'm just waiting. It's like when you're looking for deals in multifamily. You're looking for deals, you're looking for deals, you're looking for deals, and sometimes you don't get any deals for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but then all of a sudden they all flood in your inbox. And so
Oh yeah.
when you have that period of the dip of activity, then what you should be focusing on is those things: finding the money, building the processes, raising that capital. And those are the most important things that you should be continue to refocus on as a CEO.
Love it. And that's the way you should think of yourself, because you have to be that visionary leader when you are an entrepreneur. Okay, so let's talk about that vision right there. You also talk about building cultures as one of your top three strengths. So, how do you focus on building culture? What is the importance of culture for somebody who may be newer to business, who thinks culture, what's that touchy-feely stuff? You know, we we just execute here.
Yeah. So my business is completely remote. And so what that means is culture is even more important. Culture sets a standard of how we do things. And if you want to set yourself apart in any business, you need to create an internal culture that reflects who you are to the external world, so that when someone interacts with your business, they know that this is this is Hepler Land Holdings. This is someone from Hepler Land Holdings. I know because of just how they interact with the world. And culture is consisted of, in my opinion, this is ever growing, like I've always said it. But at this point, it's vision, it's core values, and it's accountability. And that's a three-legged stool. The vision, this is where we're going. This is what we're doing. These are our goals. The vision goes out, 3 years. And then everything we do today sort of brings us forward to that. Our quarterly objectives, our daily objectives, our weekly, monthly objectives. And then the core values, who we are, how we operate. We have 3 core values at HLH and at Landman: unquestionable standards, total ownership, and radical adaptability. And that is what it means to be at Hepler Land Holdings, right? Those core values is who we live and how we actually evaluate people to operate in our business, and how we hire people, and also how we evaluate people to come into our community. If you're not that type of person, if you're morally and ethically compromised, I don't care if you're throwing money at me or even paying above the amount that is in the community. It doesn't really matter to me, because we want to build a community of people that are really all aligned with those core values. One rotten apple spoils the entire bunch. And then accountability to results, to the results of the vision, to results of your personal goals, to results of your weekly goals, to the results of your daily goals. Accountability to the core values, the standards of the company, and accountability to self, you living within your core values and how you operate. And so those three-legged stools, that creates a company culture of excellence, of showing up every day and really having a cohesive group. If you can build a company that has everyone rowing in the same direction, your effectiveness, your productivity, your ability to get things done, your ability to implement new changes is going to enable you to get to where you want to go much faster. And also, as you're getting to where you want to go, it just makes life a lot more enjoyable. No one wants to be at a company that everyone's, being a pain in the butt, or they're bickering or gossiping or blaming or complaining. We don't do that at HLH, or we're not going to do that at Landman. That's just not how the type of environment that you can thrive in, that you can be abundant in, that you can get to your next level in. And so that's why I think culture is so important, because it really just creates a turbocharger for your ability to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, I love it. And without culture, another issue you have is that your people just don't know how to handle things. They don't know, hey, how does the chief, what are the standards? How do they expect things to be done? What are our core values? And you get too many questions, right? Then they expect everything to get kicked up the chain of command. So with that strong culture, then you find people feel empowered, and they can go out there, they can find their own solutions and make things happen. And yet at the same time, do it the way the chief would have done it. Chief doesn't have to be there present every moment.
That is an amazing addition.
Awesome. Well, anyway, there's so many things that I wanted to ask you about, but I'm afraid we are kind of getting to the end, sadly. So what I'd like to do is just head into our lightning round, the 7. Clay, are you ready? You up to the challenge?
Let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready to rock.
All right, let's do it. So, Clay, if you could be known for just one thing, what would that be?
A person that keeps his word.
What's the greatest lesson in leadership you've learned as an entrepreneur?
The responsibility of the company is solely up to the CEO.
And what personal characteristic has been most pivotal to your success?
Total ownership of my life, and not making any excuses, not blaming, not complaining, not defending myself for my results.
Love it. Okay, so here, one little bit more whimsical question. Tell me when to stop cutting the deck.
Oh man, that one right now.
Oh, okay. I'm almost dropping it. Whoa. Top card's still the top card, though. All right, got it. All right. If you could spend the weekend anywhere, in which city would you choose? I have a feeling maybe you'd be someplace more rural. Would you go to a big city, or you go someplace in the country?
City? Oh man. Am I okay? Let me think. So I'm with my family, right? Or am I by myself?
Oh, well, sure. You can bring anyone you want.
Anyone want? I have always wanted to visit Tokyo.
Oh, yeah. Love it. What about? Just briefly.
Well, I mean, it's I believe it's the largest city in the world. It is just has such an amazing mix of culture and history, and I just would always want to go to a city just that large. Plus, I love Japanese food, and yeah, that's why I would want to go to Tokyo. Plus, I'd go
All
in the
right,
winter so that I can
awesome.
go and ski.
All right, yeah. So it looks like we got 13.9 million. Tokyo, the world's largest city, and that's counting the metropolitan area, apparently. According to the most accurate news source in the world, the internet.
Yeah.
Anyway, from Wikipedia. What is one tip or trick that investors can implement in their business today?
Listen to your sales calls. There is no greater feedback and ability to get your business to the next level than auditing how you're communicating with your clients and your sellers.
Beautiful. Can you give us a book that's helped to forge you as a leader and entrepreneur? And tell us why.
15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. It's the single greatest book on how to become a better leader, in my opinion.
And if you just send us out with a quote to help forge our listeners as leaders and entrepreneurs.
Life is a single player game. Play the
All
game
right.
and know that you're the only person that really matters.
Okay. Love it. Fits in with that total ownership theme. Love it. Love it. Love it. Just want to make sure that before we end, that you're able to reach the sort of people you're looking to reach. So who you're looking to reach out to, who should reach out? I'm sorry, who should reach out to you, Clay?
Well, if you're interested in learning about land investing in general, I mean, I'm very active on social media. I have a newsletter which I give a ton of free value there. But if you're looking to really build a profitable six-figure land flipping business with proven steps to do it, you can reach out to me at land-man.io. And again, refer to the amount of capital that is required. I said anywhere between 35,000 to 50,000 over a 6-month period in order for you to really be successful.
Beautiful. And then just make sure people can reach out to you. Email, website, carrier pigeon, smoke signals. What's the best way to reach out to Clay Kepler?
Carrier pigeon.
Okay,
No.
good. Finally,
no,
somebody picks carrier pigeon.
yeah. Right. You're like, I've been waiting for this for all these episodes. No, so social media. I mean, I'm really active on Twitter. I'm really active on Instagram. So reach out to me on social media, LinkedIn as well. And then if you want to just email me directly, clay@land-man.io.
All right, beautiful stuff. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your knowledge and experience with our audience, Clay.
It was a pleasure.
Likewise.